What is immunity in our bodies? We have cells in our bodies that are responsible for immunity. They are B cells, T cells, NK cells, which we've heard a lot about recently. These cells are responsible for very important functions in the body. The first of these immune functions is to protect against viruses and germs coming from the outside. Bacteria is constantly moving in and out of our bodies from the outside. When these viruses come in, our immune cells react immediately, preventing them from proliferating and causing various effects. But the second thing is that these immune cells have another function for vascular cleaning. Our blood vessels play a role in transporting oxygen and nutrients to each cell, but they are also transport corridors for the various wastes that come out of them. Thus, blood vessels can get greatly damaged. So, if they are damaged, oil gets stuck in the open, damaged gaps. Also, platelets stick together, making the gaps bigger and bigger. If they get bigger, they become blood clots. If they block brain vessels and explode, it causes a stroke or cerebral hemorrhage. And if they block heart vessels, it causes chest pain and heart attacks. And if this inflammation continues to build up in the blood vessels, they get harder and harder, like rusty pipes. That's what we call atherosclerosis. This causes poor circulation because the vessels are less flexible. But these immune cells have the ability to clean up and remove the debris that are stuck in these vessels. That's why they're called scavenger cells or cleaning cells. So these immune cells play a very important role in blood vessels. But they have another very important role. They feed on cancer cells. Our bodies are actually made up of 60 trillion cells. Cells constantly die and regenerate over the course of a single day. Cancer cells go through hundreds to thousands of mutations within a single day. Immune cells passing by cancer cells that look like this would stop and say, "Oh, this one is different from normal cells," and eat the cancer cell. So immune cells play a very important role in the prevention and treatment of cancer. And cancer appears more easily in people who have lower immune function. So your immune function is important not only for eliminating germs and bacteria, but it's also important for your blood vessels in preventing cancer. That's what you should remember. There may be some inconvenient truths and some mistaken ideas about this very important topic of immunity. First, for diabetes, high blood pressure, and hyperlipidemia, how would immune function be in people with chronic diseases like this? Obviously, it'd be very low, especially in the case of diabetes, which produces a lot of inflammatory substances in our bodies. Also for diseases like high blood pressure and hyperlipidemia, they make the blood vessels themselves worse. This leads to very poor immune function. On the other hand, these inflammatory substances that come out can prevent immune cells from working. Since these chronic and underlying diseases play a role in getting rid of immune functions, people with these diseases must pay extra attention to their immune functions. You must keep that in mind. And for those who say, "Isn't my immune function okay since I exercise a lot?" Your body and immune function doesn't necessarily get better with exercise. We only need an adequate amount of exercise. In particular, some people think they must exercise very hard. They do high-intensity exercise like lifting weights or spinning. Actually, that's more like labor than exercise. Over-exercising can result in muscle pain the next day, and it can actually lower your immune function. The amount of exercise we recommend for adult patients is aerobic exercise for about an hour a day, 3 times a week. You can consider this an adequate amount of exercise. Doing more than that doesn't improve your physical health or immunity. You need the right amount of exercise, especially the amount that's suitable for you, to get healthier. Next, young people think like this. At my young age, what's the big deal with immunity? They could be thinking along these lines. But young people can have lowered immune functions as well. Especially for young people these days, their living conditions and lifestyles may be worse. Their diets may be irregular as well. Thus, their immune function may be greatly lowered. Also, immune functions can fluctuate throughout the day. If our body temperature drops by even 1 degree, our immune function drops by 30 to 40%. So if it's even just slightly chilly during the night, you catch a cold the next day. Thus, immune function fluctuates greatly, moment by moment. No matter how young you are, the more you overwork and tire your body out, the more your immune function is lowered. Next, in order to preserve their immune function, some people think they have to make their surroundings sparkling clean and spotless, but you don't have to be so clean. No matter how clean it is, there are germs, dust, and all that. In particular, we need to have contact with foreign substances and things like this from the outside to some extent, so our immune function can be active. So it's not right to say, my cleanliness will guarantee great immune function. Immune function involves a lot of other factors, in addition to the surrounding environment. So how long could you last living in a sterile environment? You won't. The immune function of someone living in a sterile environment is weakened because they are not exposed to others. So it's good to keep your environment clean to a certain extent, but that alone isn't enough for optimal immune function. Then there are people who think, I lack vitamin D. They think, if I get a lot of sun, I'll be able to improve my immune function. That's partially true. Especially these days, people expose only their faces during the winter season while also wearing sunscreen. Thus, they don't get enough sun exposure. Some people say that their vigilance about UV rays have led to an over-reduction in their sun exposure and vitamin D. But we only need a certain amount of sunshine. A few hours of sun exposure doesn't strengthen your immune function. Although vitamin D is partially involved in the body's metabolic processes or immune function, just getting an average of 15 to 20 minutes of sun every day will give you sufficient vitamin D. You can't consider just getting sun exposure as boosting your immune health. Then, what daily lifestyle can we adopt to boost our immune function? The very first thing I emphasize the most is stress. When you're stressed, your immune function is lowered right away. You get sick when you're really stressed out. You wrap your head in a towel and lie in bed for a week. If you lose your immune function due to stress, as I said before, germs come in and blood vessels get damaged. So it's very important to relieve stress. It's important not to stress yourself too much and engage in stress-relieving activities or positive thinking. Not getting too much stress is important. But the truth is that life itself is a series of stresses, and you can't live free of them, so you have to relieve it. And the easiest and most effective way is what? Exercise. I said that it's important to do the exercise that best suits you, right? If you do aerobic exercise and feel good, our bodies produce endorphins, and the happy hormone, serotonin, is released. Not only does it relieve stress, your body is also very light. Because you feel this lightness and a sense of happiness and well-being, it's extremely important to do some form of exercise. So make sure you do the exercise that best suits you. Then your diet is also extremely important. We actually know that there is a constant process of metabolism that creates debris in the body. We talk about free radicals or waste. There are bodily functions that eliminate waste, but they start weakening as you get older. As I mentioned earlier, your body may create a lot of waste as a result of stress or poor living conditions, regardless of youth. In order to relieve some of this, it's better to eat a lot of food that helps to remove antioxidants or waste from the body. The most typical examples of this are colored vegetables. Vegetables with colors of the rainbow are called anthocyanins or flavonoids. These things now appear purple, red, yellow, which contains some very good antioxidants. So it's great to eat these fresh, colorful vegetables. Also, if we cook this food, they taste good and are easily digestible. However, some of them are vitamins that we can get from fresh ingredients. In order to consume enzymes, don't overcook fresh, seasonal ingredients. It's good to just slightly blanch them or eat them raw. Because we can't produce a myriad of enzymes from these ingredients, to some extent, it's good to consume them. Next, we talk a lot about gut health in relation to our immunity. 70% of our immune cells are in the intestines. So, it improves bowel health, and one of the more important factors for improving bowel health is intestinal bacteria. It's very good to keep many helpful bacteria alive. That's why a lot of people are talking about probiotics. It's a great idea to take probiotics, which can increase the amount of these helpful bacteria. Next, you need to sleep well. Almost 90% of the hormones in your body come out during deep sleep. So regularly getting a good night's sleep is very important. That's how you can manage yourself well for the most important thing, which is your immune function. You have to block germs, keep your blood vessels healthy, and prevent cancer. So these things can be managed by maintaining your immune function.
구독, 좋아요 눌러주세요.